Okay, start again. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight for our second ParentWiser events of this year. This event is called AI Education, and I'm really happy that we are having our district representative, Deanna Eagers, and our student representative, Leo Chen, and Visha Jain, and parent representative William Bartholomew and Cloe Zeng to give us their experience and advice on how we can deal with the AI world right now. I know this is a very hot topic at this moment, and parents and students have lots of concerns, including the staff, about the education environment, about the student learning, and how parents can deal with the AI with their students. So let's just go ahead, and possibly the speakers can introduce themselves. We can start with Deanna. Deanna, do you want to start?
Sure. Thank you, Laura. First off, I'd like to thank the PTA for hosting this event. Some of my fondest memories and good friends come from my time working with the Challenger PTA. I was co-president back in the day, but that was many, many years ago. So I'm Diana Eggers, the Director of Educational Technology for the school district. We have an IT director, and I like to think of her as the person who make sure everything works. And then my work and my team, we work with teachers on how to use technology in the classroom.
Thank you. See, Leo.
Hi, I'm Leo Chen. I'm a senior at Skyline High School. I'm the I've been admitted to CMU and the president of the Web and AI Club at our Skyline High School, and I'm a AI student volunteer at Y Learn Language Organization. And I led an AI session at 2024 PNN CFL Spring Conference. Thank you.
Thank you. Visha.
My name is Anvisha. I'm a junior at Skyline High School. I've been doing some research on AI and utilizing AI and ML to build models that analyze data with space technology, and it's just a topic that I'm really interested in.
Thank you. William?
Hi, I'm William Bartholomew. I work at Microsoft in the Office of Responsible AI. I'm a director of public policy, and so I work with policymakers around the world on what good.
Okay. Sorry. Chloe?
Oh, sorry. Were you cut off? I wasn't sure. William.
Just the last bit. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So my name is Cloe Zeng. I have two kids in Issaquah School District, and one in Skyline and one in Pine Lake. And I am currently working as a Chief Growth Officer at the Gottman Institute. And I was an ex-Microsofter, and my previous position is the Senior Director of Business Operations at Microsoft. And I'm an AI and technology executive, so very looking forward to the conversation tonight.
Thank you. So I will think we're going to start with Diana to talk about on the district side what is going on about the AI world right now.
Sure. Thank you, Laura. Let me just grab my screen.
And let me stop sharing.
The taskbar here. Yeah, we'll leave it there. All right. So last year, we had a district leadership team, which included our superintendent.
Was crazy.
participate in an AI in K-12 community of practice with an organization called Chiefs for Change. So this was a national group that was geared towards supporting district leadership, identify priorities and goals for their work around AI, and then to create plans to implement those priorities. So the 3 priorities that we set, the first one is really around laying that groundwork, so putting the policy and regulation in place so that both staff and students have kind of the guidelines and guardrails to inform their use of AI. Number 2 was really focused on improving efficiencies from a systems level. So less on the educational side of a school district, but more on the operational. How can we use AI to make our systems more efficient and increase productivity? And then number 3 is really kind of, my work. It's around how do we ensure that students are learning not only how to use AI, but about AI and what AI uses and what they might look for when thinking about AI. And then I think most importantly, as we look to roll out AI tools for staff and for students, how do we ensure that students who have historically been marginalized, how do we make sure that we're keeping them at the forefront of our thinking? So that led to our development of regulations for AI in our district. So we worked with a group of educators last winter and spring to kind of bring up their level of understanding around AI. And then we started talking about what do we want for our students and our teachers in Issaquah around the use of artificial intelligence. And we examined several different policies that were out there. OSPI was coming out with some guidance for the use of AI at that time, and their focus was really kind of maintaining that human connection in AI. So a human inputs into an AI, and AI, outputs, a human reviews that, and then determines, what they're going to use or not use or revise. We also looked at the model policy that the Washington State School Directors Association put out, and that is the association that works with school boards throughout our state. So in looking at those, we adapted and then had Cabinet approve, after legal guidance, approve our new regulations around AI. So we took the AI piece and we embedded it into our responsible use agreements for students that have been in place for a number of years, and then our responsible use guidelines for staff. So if you're interested in reading those, you can use the QR code, the little bit.ly. It is case sensitive, but you could use that as well. So really, I think tonight, you're likely most interested in that priority 3, where we're developing a plan to teach students about AI and how to effectively use it. So what we've been working on here in 2025 is identifying a set of tools for teachers and students to use, and creating material for teachers as they look to introduce AI to students. So our team here in our educational technology department has put together some material. They've been leading some trainings or lessons for students. And then what we're most excited about is our new partnership with Colleague AI. And Colleague AI is a grant. It was developed through a grant from the Institute of Educational Sciences and the National Science Institute, and they're partnering with the University of Washington and Hudson Innovation to really develop an AI tool that is for teachers that accesses evidence-based instructional material in order for teachers to create evidence-based instructional material for their classrooms. They are also working on a classroom tool that would be available to students to use. We're going to have some teachers in the beta test of that product that's attached to Colleague AI, and that is a tool then that students could use to experience AI and to be tutored by AI, to get AI assistance. So we're looking forward to seeing what that tool has to offer. So when we talk to teachers about using AI, we kind of put the AI tools into three broad categories. So they can use it to supplement content, to create and supplement content. They can use it if they create an assessment that is tied to learning targets. They could upload that assessment data, stripping out the student information, upload that assessment data and get some analytics back on where they should kind of direct their next lesson based on the assessment data. The other category, productivity and efficiency. So how can teachers use AI to improve their lesson plans? We were just talking with a elementary teacher on Monday who is using AI. She uploads her learning target and she uses Colleague AI then to create a variety of tasks to approach that learning target. And then that gives students options on how they want to demonstrate whether they... then students can choose a task among several tasks to demonstrate their understanding of a learning target. On the student side, really kind of approaching, so first off, students and what we're informing teachers to do is if a teacher allows for AI to be used, then a student may use AI. And when we talk to teachers about using AI with students, we kind of classify it into three kind of categories. So, be clear, maybe AI is not allowed on this assignment. Maybe you could have an AI assisted assignment, or maybe you're using AI as a collaboration partner in your work. And we're working with teachers to understand too that right now, the majority of tools that are out there are restricted to 13 years of age and older. There are a few tools out there that don't require any sort of personal login for students, and those are the tools that students could use under the age of 13 without fear of too much data about them being collected. Recently came across this study, a Pew Research survey that reported that between last year and this year, teens are saying that they're using ChatGPT 2 times the amount that they were last year. So last year, 13% of the teenagers surveyed had been using ChatGPT. This year, that's up to 26%. Most teens are still reporting that they have not used ChatGPT for schoolwork. I thought it was interesting here that the teenagers that responded to the survey thought that using AI to research topics was, acceptable. To solve math problems, maybe not as acceptable, and then to write essays, even less accessible. And I imagine that's due to the kind of outcry from ELA teachers and across the country is, this generative AI, if it can produce, what looks like really good writing, why wouldn't you be looking at some of that to support your schoolwork? In Issaquah, when we've been talking with students in the way that they're using it to create study guides, to do research on a concept that they didn't understand in class, and then really to explore those personal interest topics. So outside of the school, they're doing all sorts of things with AI to support their personal interests. One thing we do find is I think most people, when they're new to AI, they approach it as a search replacement, and helping students understand that it's not a new Google search engine, that you need to approach an AI prompt much differently than you would a typical search to get the results that you want. So that is one thing that we find. And then students are using it for work completion, but we, like I mentioned earlier, really encourage students before they do that they're really verifying with their teacher whether or not that's an acceptable use. And then Laura, I'm not sure if you're sharing the slide deck, but I added some resources that we've been referencing as we've been doing our work in AI. So I'll hand it back to you. I'm not sure if we're doing questions now or if everybody's going to talk and then questions. So let me stop sharing if I can find my mouse cursor. There we go.
Yes, we will sharing the slides deck after the meeting to everyone who registered. And then we will find a QA time after everyone shared their experience. Thank you. That is very, very good to know. I have zero idea for most of your information that's sharing. Thanks. So next, we would like to have our student representative. So let's start with Leo. Leo, do you want to share your slides, or do you want me to share your slides?
I can open my slides locally.
Okay.
So this slide is talking about the impact and the guidance of AI in education, the current use of AI in our school and daily learning as a student standpoint. So just an introduction, AI has become an integral of the daily life, transforming sectors like healthcare and education. This presentation will explore the societal impact and guide educators in leveraging AI technologies. So the current impact in school and daily educations. So I've broken down into 3 parts: the rise of AI, what is AI, and some key trends. So the rise of AI: in the recent years, AI has become more common in areas of our lives, including education. Schools around the world are starting to use AI tools to support both teachers and students. This shift helps to make learning more personalized and more efficient. And what is AI? So the definition of artificial intelligence is a field of computer science where machines are designed to perform tasks that are usually required by human intelligence, such as problem solving, understanding speech, or recognizing patterns. AI system can learn from large set of data. The more the data they process, the smarter they become in making predictions or decisions. And some key trends: asking AI for help. Many of us, like the students, use AI chatbots or virtual assistants to clarify concepts, brainstorming ideas, or even get hints on tough questions. It can be having like a study buddy available 24/7, but we still need to double check the information to ensure the accuracy. It's also serving as a language practice. AI tools also offer instant grammar checks, vocabulary suggestions, and pronunciation feedback. These tools help us to improve our writing and speaking skills, especially when it comes to practicing a second language. Automated feedback and grading. AI like GPT or DeepSeek can quickly grade multiple choice or short answer questions when the teacher posts out the answer sheet. So we can verify our own work after the teacher posted out their answer sheet. This immediate feedback helps us to spot our mistakes right away and learn from them faster. Organizing and scheduling. AI-powered calendar apps or digital planners suggest the best time to study and remind us of the upcoming deadlines. This helps us to balance the homework, extracurricular activities, and personal time more efficiently. Practical examples in daily lessons. Personalized practices. When students are self-studying, we often turn into AI for help with answering questions and generating practice problems based on our weak areas. This makes studying more efficient because instead of spending time to research for explanations or making our own practice questions, we can focus on actually understanding and applying the material. Speech recognition and practice. AI offers real-time pronunciation feedback where it listens to your speech and points out the words you might be pronouncing incorrectly. This can be especially helpful when it's practicing English or another foreign language. Interactive practices. You can hold a conversation with AI chatbots, which responds to you in English or another language and scores your fluency. This makes your practicing speaking less intimidating and more fun. And as I previously said, AI-assisted grading and assessments. It gives faster grading assessment from both the teacher and student aspects. Instead of waiting for days or weeks for a teacher to go through stacks of essay or tests, AI tools can offer initial grading almost instantly, highlighting errors and grammar mistakes and spelling or structure mistakes, providing a better starting off point for the teacher to grade, which will help them to increase their efficiency. Rules for using AI at school for homework. So this is from our school's attitude for using AI. Many schools recognize that AI can be a helpful resource like a digital tutor or research assistant. However, there are guidelines to ensure that we don't misuse AI, especially when it comes to honesty and fairness. Academic integrity. Honesty matters. Copying or blindly relying on AI-generated answer has seen a form of plagiarism or cheating. It doesn't help you to learn the material, and it goes against most of the school's honor code. Using it as a tool, not a shortcut. It is acceptable to use AI to brainstorm ideas, checking grammars, or finding reliable sources. But the main idea and the final work should be still your own. Giving credit as you needed. When you're using AI to help you generate content or gather data, some teacher may ask you to mention which tool you use it from and what prompt you use and how you got your answer. AI for assignments. Homework help. AI can be like as a student, I usually use AI to like organize my information, finding references, or even suggesting or improving on my own writing. This is very helpful when I'm doing like essay writing because I'm not a native English speaker. So when I'm grading my essay or finding for peer review, I most often will use OpenAI or ChatGPT to verify my writing. And some inappropriate AI usage is plagiarism and cheating, which is submitting AI-generated work and as if it's entirely your own, especially for tests, essay, or final projects. Excessive relying on AI so much that you can't actually learn anything, such as having AI to write your entire essay without adding your own ideas. And authorized collaboration, using AI in group assignment or exams when the teacher especially says to work independently. Acknowledge the use of AI. So this is the originality requirements. So reference or tool statement, if we use the AI platform to generate ideas rather than research or edit our text, most of the time we have to make a note in our bibliography or add a short statement in our assignment. Ensure originality in assignment and essays. Using my own voice, which is like while AI can help you to brainstorm or editing, the final work should be your own personal thinking and writing style. Paraphrasing and citations, if we find useful information through AI-driven researches, we would have properly cite the original sources, not just copy and paste what the AI generates. How AI impacts student education and learning habits. So there are some positive impacts. So when it gives more personalized learning. So AI platform can adjust the difficulty level or types of question based on your progress. If you're struggling with a concept, the AI can give you exercise or more hints. If you're excelling, it moves you to tougher challenges. And it also boosts the study efficiency. With AI, you can get almost instant feedback on the quizzes or practice problems instead of just waiting days for a teacher to grade. This quick response helps you to learn from mistakes and right away and AI-powered apps can suggest the material or exercise that can help you to improve. While the resources from from online tutorials or virtual language exchanges, AI offers a wide range of study resources. You can learn about different subjects, connect with students worldwide, and practice foreign languages, all without leaving your room. And some potential negative impacts: over reliance on AI. If you always rely on AI for getting your essays on writing, you might lose the habit of thinking through your own problems on your own. You risk forgetting how research or reasoning critically without computers' help. And some difficulty with overflowing the informations. AI can give you tons of data or suggestions, but not all of it is reliable. If you don't have good judgment or fact-thinking skills, it's easy to accept incorrect or biased information. And security risks. Security and privacy risk. Some AI tracks you down to tracks your activity to learn about you, but this could lead to concern about how your data is stored and who can access it. And it might be used for inappropriate uses in the future. Shifts in learning habits as a student. So it gives us faster research and fragmented learning. AI-powered searches and chatbot lets you to gain information quickly. However, it can lead to scanning small habits of information instead of reading and understanding an entire article of books. Focus on higher level thinking. As AI handles simple tasks or factual recalls, student might need to focus on creativity, critical thinking, and problem solving skills. Instead of just memorizing facts, you learn how to interpret and apply them. And new digital skills and critical thinking. Using AI effectively requires digital literacy, which is knowing which app to trust and how to check the sources, and when to question the AI's answer. This kind of critical thinking becomes more essential in the modern education. So here are some common ways that how a student uses AI. So I personally use it as a learning support. So I use it frequently to use AI to improve my writing and language skills by getting instant feedback on grammar and pronunciation. Math and science app offer a step-by-step solution, clarifying tough concept, adaptive quizzes, and help identify the weak spots, ensuring that study time is focused on area needing to get the most attention. Homework and project research. AI-powered tools streamline the research process by summarizing and organizing information quickly. Writing assistants can help structure paper or offers suggestions for outlines. Cutting down the time spent on drafts, the data analysis platform is also convert numbers into clear graphs, adding clarity to presentations. And the last part I want to talk about is the extracurricular interest. Outside of regular classes, students experiment with AI for creating writing or basic code projects. Chatbot turns language practice into casual, enjoyable conversation. Meanwhile, school clubs offer robotics. School clubs focus on robotics or AI-based challenge, allows the student to collaborate, explore new technologies, and expand their skills. So some future trends. I think that AI will be more advanced at tailoring course materials to individual students and providing instant feedback on assignments. It also have deeper integration with the educational tech, which it's like a tool that merges the online learning platform. The students can expect more interactive and more immersive experiences. Involving school policy and culture to keep pace with a rapid change, school will likely to refine their rules and approaches. The culture around education will continue to shift towards collaboration and responsible innovations. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Leo. We will see if there's a question to you in the end. Avisha, your turn.
I want to second everything Leo said, and then just say, of course, there are positive and negative ways in which AI can be used. The negative ways would more likely to be centered around using it to avoid work by having it write your essays for you or do all your homework and just copy pasting what it says. But I personally use AI the night before a test if I need clarification on concepts that are difficult for me, or to generate harder questions, or maybe as a source to build research off of, asking it for potential websites I could go to learn about a specific topic. Either way, there are obviously problems that come with it. Of course, on one hand, students are not going to be able to further their learning if they're constantly going back to AI to do all their work. And also, AI isn't perfect. There are going to be constant inaccuracies in the information it provides. I know one time I was using it to find possible quotes I could use from one of the books we were reading that could buttress my argument, and it generated quotes that were completely non-existent. So AI isn't the most reliable tool out there, and I think that's something that's not acknowledged enough. Also, when teachers stress that they do not want AI to be used in their classroom at all, students who intend on using AI will find a way to circumvent this. They will, if they need an essay to be written by AI, they'll find a way to edit it enough to where the teachers won't know that it's AI. So there are many ways that students can use AI if they really want to. This is why I think that having some sort of a platform that's pushed by the district or in the school environment as a tool to enhance education, as opposed to something that should be completely strayed away from, is essential. Having a platform like Colleague AI where teachers can use it to enhance their own lessons, but also it can be monitored by the district so that students can use it in ethical ways. That's something that would greatly benefit everyone's learning. And it would also be a way for students to understand how AI impacts their learning, because they need to understand that when they default to AI for all their work, it's only really detrimenting them, because they are the ones that lose an opportunity to learn. So overall, I would say my advice is just really getting that idea through, that with AI, if someone's using it in a way that's unethical, they're only really harming their own education. And also having some sort of a platform where AI can be used as an educational tool to further learning and to deepen it, to have students gain a better understanding rather than it being used to avoid work. Those are two things that are essential.
Thank you. Thanks, Anisha. I think this is your suggestion is really valid, and I think the district can possibly also think about to implement something to be able to get teachers and also students on the same platform and be able to monitor how, and also guide how the student can use the AI tool when they need it. So thank you. Thanks for sharing. That is really good. And let's see, William, do you want to sharing something on the parent side?
No slides to share. I'll just be talking. So I wanted to share a little bit of my experience of how I approach using AI. I use it on a daily basis as part of work and have for some time now. And I think one of the themes that, was in the kind of previous discussions is I always like to start out remembering that AI is there as a tool and it's meant to be there to support you. And like any tool, you need to pick the right tool for the right job. If you have to put a screw into something, you don't use a hammer. If you need to put a nail into something, you don't use a screwdriver. And you might be able to get the job done with the wrong tool, but it won't give you what you expect as an outcome. And the same is true with AI. And even within kind of that broad set of AI, different AI tools or even features within AI tools are intended for different purposes. So for instance, if you look at AI that is integrated into a search engine, those are often have been customized to ensure that they are bringing back results that are supported by the different websites that they've indexed, and they'll often cite where the information came from. Whereas if you're using an AI chatbot, it may not be providing that same kind of citation back to original sources. And so while it's kind of very easy to think about, AI as this kind of one big bucket that you can treat all the same, each of the different kind of AI tools have their own kind of characteristics and idiosyncrasies. And I think one of the things that's important there is general purpose tools don't really know what you're trying to do unless you tell it. And so as an example, if I wanted to write a letter to someone, and if I was to compare two different prompts that I might give an AI, when you're just starting out using AI, you might use a prompt like, write a letter to Bob about how good his speech was last week. And you're going to get a very generic generated letter that probably doesn't say much more than what was in your prompt. But if I was to give it a little bit more context about what I'm trying to achieve, then I'll get something a lot more tailored for the particular scenario. So for instance, I could expand on the prompt and say, I want to write a professional letter to Bob, thanking him for the speech that he did on such and such a topic, and emphasize that this point really resonated with the audience. And then I'll get something that I may still want to tailor, but I'll get something that's kind of much closer to the end result I'm wanting to achieve. And I think this is kind of one of the reasons why it's important to think about it as a tool, which is, you have to learn how to use the tool for what your different goals are. And I think the other thing I think about there is, you don't need to use AI for every part of a task. There was discussions earlier about, using it in the context of writing an essay. Well, if you think about writing an essay, there's many different parts to that process, and I can use AI for one part of that, but not others. And so maybe I'm suffering from, that blank page problem where, I just don't know how to get started on this. I just need something. And maybe I want to use AI to kind of give me that first paragraph to kind of get me. Or, I might want it to suggest authors to go research on a particular topic to find additional resources for background. Or maybe I want it to suggest some other related concepts to the essay I'm writing, so maybe I can bring some other kind of related material in. But I can also use it, as kind of a review tool, have it, validate some of the ideas I've written, or have it propose alternate views on some of my things to see, is there an angle of this that I haven't thought about? And to the point earlier about kind of critical thinking, you probably want to try and do that yourself first, but sometimes as a double check, you can say, okay, is there an angle here I haven't considered? And then, of course, there's also the editing capabilities where, I could have AI help reword a particular paragraph, help me summarize a point or expand it. And so, it doesn't have to be an all or nothing, but kind of picking, where do I need AI's help most for this? And that kind of lets you balance using your own personal creativity, research skills, along with the benefits that you might get from AI. The other topic I want to talk about is kind of what, depending on kind of where you read, is this idea of hallucinations or fabrications. And this kind of goes back to the idea of, some AI tools have been optimized to kind of minimize hallucinations. So in the search engine example, they will generally try and back the things that are being generated with the sources. But it's also useful to remember that hallucinations aren't always a bad thing. So for instance, if I'm using AI to generate creative content, or to generate fiction, new ideas, it's actually AI's ability to hallucinate that gives it that creativity. And so if I was trying to use a search engine to generate creative content, I'm probably not going to get creative content. I'm going to get information that is found elsewhere. Whereas if I'm using a chatbot or something that doesn't have that same grounding in existing content, then I'm more likely to get creative new content out of it. And so that's really important in, what am I trying to achieve here? Am I trying to find things that are more grounded in facts? Am I trying to generate something that is creative? And then I kind of just wanted to finish off with kind of 2 points. One is you can also use AI to teach you how to use AI. A great technique that I use often is, maybe I'll ask an AI, if I went back to the letter example, to generate the letter, and then I might ask it to, change the tone, or I might ask it to expand on a certain point. After I've gone through that whole process, I can actually ask the AI to generate a prompt that would have given me something closer to what I got at the end that I can use next time. And so you can have this back and forth where you're kind of teaching the AI what you want and then have it really summarize that whole process so you can replicate it for future uses. And then the last thing I wanted to say is I really encourage people to just try using it, and it really doesn't matter what you use it for. It can be, making a meal plan. It can be, taking a shopping list and organizing it by the aisle. Maybe you have something on your to-do list that you just can't get started on, and you could ask AI to break that down into, 15-minute tasks. The other day, I had AI generate a playlist of songs based on a certain theme. And it was able to come up with, okay, these songs in this order, and here's why this order. And you can also use it to, kind of challenge some of your assumptions. Like, maybe you're having an argument with someone and you want the opposite perspective. And you say, like, here's what I'm thinking. What are possible other perspectives on this problem I'm facing? So I really encourage people to just try it, see what it works well for, and kind of get that experience in using it as a tool.
Thank you, Lillian. It's funny because my graduation school, my research point is also AI, artificial intelligence, the neural network learning system. Yeah. So yeah, that's totally makes sense. You can teach the machine to learn, but while you also, the more people adding the data, the more noise that might happening. So be careful when you trusting the answer you got from the AI tool. Thank you. Thanks for sharing your experience. Chloe, are you ready? Do you want me to share or you can share? Okay, cool. Thank you.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for the opportunity to share a parent's perspective on this important topic. So I want to talk about the AI education and parenting strategy in the session. And so I would like to build on some of the things that Diana, William, Leo, and Visha already talked about. But I also would like to talk a little bit from parents' perspective. And it all comes back to what's the meaning of life and the parenting role when we are raising our kids. and also building on how is AI contribute to the future? What are the trends we should be aware of? And what are the considerations we need to be mindful about? And some of the parenting strategies that, as I'm observing the trend, and I have some ideas as well. I briefly mentioned earlier about who I am, and it will be remiss of me not to mention, I also had the privilege to lead the Issaquah School Foundation for 2 years, and I'm now also a emeritus board member as well. So whether it's at my day job, working for the Gottman Institute, or in my nighttime job, being a parent of 2 kids, which I am sure lots of you on the call can resonate that the multiple roles we are trying to juggle on a daily basis. But ultimately, we want the very best for our children and also for the students as well. I would like to share one of my favorite quotes, and you will see some pictures that I share throughout the presentation. I love taking pictures, so these pictures are real pictures. They are from my kids and also with their friends as well. So I love the quotes about leadership. It's really about great leaders plant seeds whose shade you may never sit under. And when I think about the parenting role, this is even more true. We are the protector, we are growing, nurturing the children, and like will blossom into flowers and grow into trees. But it is not cookie cutter, and it's not just one type of tree that it's going to blossom. And being able to understand what kind of flowers or tree your kids want to become, and then nurturing, creating a positive environment, it's super important. So that comes to ultimately what I consider really important about parenting. It's the meaning of life. And I love one of Picasso's quote, when he said about the meaning of life is to find your gift, and the purpose of life is to give it away. And when I think about our meaning and purpose on this planet, it is not summarized by how many days, months, or years we actually lived on this planet, but ultimately it is about the impact we leave on the others, how we're being part of other people's story. And it could be a stranger is stopping by, listening to the beautiful music in the orchestra performance you and your peers are performing. It could be also a peer support after a really tough competition, but you are cheering wholeheartedly for each other and giving that support and positivity to the others. It could be also about giving and reaching out to with a helping hand when you see your friend is struggling and is afraid of heights, but you do not hesitate to reach out and you didn't look the other way. And it could also be when your kids are volunteering and helping other kids to learn a new language or learn coding and learn how to communicate better. And you saw the beaming smile on these people who receive the benefits, and because it is about giving hope and giving help. Now, I have a binary code on this page, which I would like to encourage to guess what that binary code means, and I'll review the answer at the end of this presentation. And when I also think about helping kids to, like parents helping kids to navigate and find the purpose, I want to point out some of the study and the research will show that the purpose gap is real. So as parents, when I first read about research, found out 1 out of 5 teens have found something meaningful to dedicate themselves to. That is a very low percentage from my point of view. So only 22% of the youngsters aged 12 to 22 express they have a very clear vision of where they want to go to. The majority will just drift away. And that puts a lot of also responsibility and on the shoulder for the parents as well. And the role that we are playing as a parent is be a dream detector. And it's not about creating a purpose for your child, but it is really about listening to that spark and then fan the flame and nurturing a positive and optimistic outlook. Now, with AI, everything is changing and it's evolving so quickly. So that changed the rule a little bit and also put more challenges for parenting as well. And if we zoom out, I would like to build on what William and Diana touched earlier. If we take a look at the future, AI is already shaping the global economy, and it has an impact to the future careers that we need to think about. And I found some of these key projections are really interesting. So 19.9 trillion contribution by 2030 is expected. And that's 3.5 of a global GDP. AI is going to contribute to that. And 15.7 trillion economic boost as well. And 45% will be coming from AI-driven product enhancement. And when we just think about the percentage increase in the global GDP, it's 7%. And that's about 7 trillion US dollar, and that the AI is going to play an important role. And that's really significant. So what does that mean, given all these projections? It really highlights that AI is transforming the industries with automation, efficiency, and innovation. And undoubtedly, it will increase job opportunity, but it also means that it's going to change the skills requirement. And schools will need to prepare students for AI-powered workplace. That is a total different challenge compared in the past few decades. And parents will also need to support the kids by encouraging problem solving and AI literacy, and some of these things that Leo and Visha already talked about as well. So AI is already here, and we are not talking about too distant future. It is already here, and where you are already seeing in our daily life, and this could be smart assistant, Alexa, Siri, Google, etc. It could be in our social media and also in entertainment. So I think the parents can really guide the AI exploration responsibly by encouraging discussion about AI ethics, which has been talked about by everybody, all of the speakers tonight, and also any misinformation that parents need to be aware of. Parents also can help by setting boundaries for the AI usage and also using it as a learning tool rather than entertainment. So in the next few slides, I thought about it, given children are of different ages, and what are the AI parenting strategy that I think parents can focus on. So for the younger children who are aged between 6 and 12, and I believe it is really about focusing on learning and safety first. So there are some guiding principles encouraging supervised AI use, like story generator, voice assistant, and any learning app, and these can be really great tool. And then teaching critical thinking early, which our students, speakers, both highlighted this already, that critical thinking is really important. So kids should know that AI outputs are not always accurate, and they need to look at it critically. And also limit the passive consumption. Like YouTube recommendations can lead to endless scrolling. So setting the healthy screen time is really important. And if we take a look at some of the facts, 60% of the children in this category already using voice assistant like Siri or Alexa. And the AI-powered learning apps, according to the Harvard EdTech study, it improves comprehension by 30% with the parental guidance as well. So the tip for parents is really when we're using AI-powered educational games and chatbots to make the learning interactive, but we should always review and make sure the kids' response are correctly. And then in the next age category, which both my kids are fit into this category as well. Age 13 and 18, I think about the guiding principle, and the really important focus is on responsibility and privacy awareness. Both points were talked about by the previous speaker. I would just like to summarize the guiding principle from my point of view is AI is a tool, and teens should be using AI for assistance, but not replacement for thinking. Super important. And also teens should be mindful of privacy. As Leo called out, AI tools collect the user data. And so teaching teens to avoid sharing personal information with the AI chatbot, really important. And then balancing the productivity with mental well-being, super important. AI will generate professionalism and like social media filters, deepfake videos, that could really impact student or children's self-esteem. And let's take a look at some of the facts. 67% of teens use AI tool like chatbots for homework, but only 45% said they struggle with the fact checking, which is a big problem. And AI created social media content increased screen time by 45%. This is leading to higher stress and anxiety for teens. So when parents in this age group, when we are thinking about how to guide our teens, is really having open conversation about ethical AI use, and also making sure they are aware of the risk of misinformation. And in the next category, where I think about young adults, where the focus area, this is age 18 and above, I think this is more about career readiness and the ethical AI use. So the guiding principle, from my perspective, it's about developing AI literacy. Understanding the AI's limitations is a key in workplace and universities, and think critically about AI-generated content. It can create resumes, write the essays, and code, but young adults must verify the accuracy and also think critically. And use AI for professional growth, and should encourage AI-powered career tools for job applications, skill building, and even I am aware some people are using it to coaching for the job interview, Q&A, and to practice as well. Here are some of the facts. 72% of the college students use AI for academic work, but only 25% receive guidance on ethical AI use. So highlighting really important to focus on making aware the importance of ethical AI use is key. 80% of the employers expect new hires will have basic AI skills. So back to William's point earlier, that encourage everyone to use AI, because this is already here and is part of our life. So the parenting tip is really encouraging responsible AI use by helping young adults develop AI literacy for their career. But there are also some bigger questions that as a parent, I will have concern. And these are primarily in the AI safety, privacy, and mental health consideration. So let's take a look at privacy and security risks. What's top of mind for me is the data collection concerns. AI system will collect personal data, including your browsing history, location data, behavioral information. So it's raising some of privacy concern. And cybersecurity threats, the increase of the cyber attacks with the risk of student data leaks, identity theft, and fraud, that's also a concern. So when Diana, listening to you talk about how much effort the school district is putting on the data protection and the policy and the secure platform, and that is really a relief to hear that, because this is really important. Mental health implication is also top of mind for me as a parent. And GovTech actually did a research. Educators are sharing concern. A survey found 69% of teachers and school leaders anticipate AI would negatively impact students' mental health over the next decade. And the Atlantic research also comments on the AI-generated content risk use of AI to create deepfake images, with reports indicating 15% of high school students have already encountered such content, and that is leading to psychological distress as well. And last not the least, ethical and safety concern. I'm sure some of you are aware the news in the very sad news about one of a teenager committed suicide, and the parents of this teenager is launching a lawsuit against the AI company because the AI chatbots may have engaged in harmful or inappropriate interaction with her child. And so how do we protect, and also how do we make sure legislation is evolving and protecting the student and children, to making sure that they are very mindful AI is not real, and how to make sure that the chatbots are not engaged in such harmful conversation. That is undoubtedly a top of mind for parents. And so parents and educators, I think, should monitor the AI use and guide students in ethical engagement as well. So my key takeaway for you as I think about AI in our daily life and as a parent, what are the things that we should be mindful of? First, AI enhances learning, but it should not replace critical thinking. AI can improve productivity, but mental well-being must be prioritized. And knowing that AI is not perfect, and parents should help kids to develop the AI literacy. So this is my last slide, and I mentioned earlier that this binary code is means something. So what it spells is really human. And I think about us being human is way more than this binary code. It's coming back to the meaning of life and the purpose of life, and how we can make this world a better place. Stephen Hawking said that intelligence is the ability to adapt to change. AI is not the ultimate goal. AI is the tool, the means to help reaching the goals and the purpose of life. And when we think about at the end of the day, what's left of us, it's really the role we left in the others, how we participate in other people's story, how we develop a greater sense than our own selves, and how do we discover the beauty of this world and illuminate this world with hope, with help, with positivity. So I think that I'm very hopeful for our next generation, and I'm sure they were destined to do great things. And I will encourage all the parents that please be passionately curious, and also encourage your children and also the students to be curious and imagine what the future could look like. So thank you.
Thank you, Chloe. That is very good. Good slides sharing from the parent perspective. And then we do have right now the parents question, or not the parents asking, like, all of you actually talking about the critical thinking here. But the parent side, they think it would be too late for all the kids to go to college, then took a course called critical thinking. Would ISD consider teaching more topic on critical thinking early? I think it's in the early age, how we can teach kids that the critical thinking is very important and more like independent thinking kind of thing. I think it's the question to Diana.
Yes, I would say that much of our curriculum already includes critical thinking skills for students. It's not necessarily a separate course where you would go out and get your critical thinking and then come back and apply it to social studies, math, and science, but embedded within our math classes, our social studies classes, science classes, are those critical thinking skills. Our English language arts teachers work with students on, finding and evaluating and assessing research. So that is the critical thinking skills. We might need to do a better job at calling out those skills so that students understand that the process that a teacher might be taking them through in math is a critical thinking process that could be applied in other content areas as well. So sometimes I know that connection between what you're doing in one class, how do you apply that in other classes, doesn't always click, the first time for our students. I'd be interested to hear from Leo and Visha on how you think your teachers, either this year or last year or over the years, have addressed some of those critical thinking skills in your classes.
I can answer this question, or if you want to go first.
Sure.
Okay, so I think one of the experiences for the critical thinking skills is it's probably a weird standpoint to put this, but it's mostly from my computer science teacher, comparing to more my language arts teacher, because the way that we use um artificial intelligence in computer science classes is where our school is using the IB system, and we have this thing called the IA, which is like a long-term project that we have to work on for like over almost like a month-ish. So the way that we use AI for projects and like IAs in that class is we can ask it to brainstorm ideas for us, and our teacher actually supports it to like is being very pretty supportive to let us to brainstorm ideas and to learn from the AI to um, kind of just learn the new skills and new skill sets. So I guess that's one of the ways that we kind of have this critical thinking skills, is to be able to identify which part, because back in the days, like a year ago, AI wasn't very smart. If this sounds right, but it wasn't really smart in terms of producing correct results, and the code wasn't really working as well compared to AIs in uh, as of now. So the main way that we kind of apply the critical thinking skills, and we were able to identify which ones, and like we were able to identify what's right and what's wrong, is we have to actually learn the coding and the code piece by piece to be able to code entire project together. So I think that's one of the ways we have critical thinking skills from a year before. But as of now, because I'm taking also in my last semester, I'm taking monster literature, which is a LA class, and our teacher encourages also, like, because the AI is a thing now, she also encouraged us to um use AI to brainstorm ideas. And you can also, like, even like if you have, like, if you know what source you're finding, you can ask AI to help you to get the exact source instead of just going inside to the book and find which page it is on. So I think that's one of the critical thinking skills that um, from the language arts side that we're kind of producing right now.
I would say for me, I find critical thinking to be taught most prominently in humanities, source about any like website or book or database that we're using for our research, where it originated from, what the author's purposes in putting that information out there, and determining like a multitude of factors to see whether it's trustworthy or not. And another course I'm taking as part of the IB curriculum is TOK, where we really question like how we know what we know, and what like the sources that we get our information from, how we can trust them and evaluate the information that we have. And I would say that is probably the strongest course where critical thinking is a skill that we're taught. But the issue is that it's not a course that I would say the majority of students take. So that skill isn't that specific focus on the skill isn't as widely dispersed amongst our body. And there's also a disconnect between using critical thinking in specific subjects like LA or TOK, and then applying that to real world situations like AI. Because I think when we see a website, we might say, oh, we need to evaluate this website. But then if we use AI for the same thing, a lot of people tend to take what AI says at face value and not apply those same skills. So there's that lack of application that really hinders our AI use.
Thanks for sharing. I think it's also one of the sorry, Chloe, do you have any inputs?
Please, you go ahead first. I just want to comment, have an additional thought, but you go ahead.
Yeah. What I just want to say is actually the parents is also point out is I think the most important thing for the parent side is also how to help the student to voluntarily have the ability to do the problem, solving the problems, and make the decisions and know this is right, this is wrong, or those are the skills, the tools that they can identify to make a decision by themselves or to think more outside the box by themselves rather than just to rely on the tool or to rely on the AI tool or other tool to help them to or enlighten them to think about the problem or solving the problem. So I think that is the question that this parent is trying to asking is that, but if that's not right, you can't just speak up or unmute yourself, the parent's earphone, if you'd like to speak up yourself, asking the question.
Sure. I mean, we mentioned a lot about critical thinking because we don't want the kids to just only taking the answer by AI generated, and because there's a lot of problem, we have a lot of challenge. We don't yet develop the level of trust we have today about AI over on that. That goes back to, okay, here's the answer that AI provided. You type in the same prompt multiple times, it will give you different answers and et cetera, et cetera. With the boundary of all those answers we're getting for the kids, what are the abilities that they can be able to identify what's correct? Particular, it's about more, I'm not super worried about a code that generated by the AI. It's not working. It's so easy to find out why it's not working very soon. But the case are when it's about ideas, when it's about doing the right thing and generate the idea about what our perspective about society and all those stuff, it become very shaky. I'm not so sure what's the best way to teach the kids. I am looking for, how we as parents and as well as with the ISDs, in their early age, what are the way for us to form their mind about standing in different perspective and be able to think not just one way, but both ways. I mean, I think there's a course that called critical thinking in college. That's where I learned it. But the case are the concept is not has to be teaching the formula of a 4-credit course in college. But is there a way that we can or the ISD can actually helping form the right perspective over on thinking about the answer given by AI or whoever?
Yes, and I would say as we've been working on developing AI lessons for teachers to use with students, that is something that's been kind of top of mind because, as you get older and you build more knowledge over time, you can look at a response from an AI and kind of detect whether or not it's correct or in the ballpark. But students who are still building kind of that general content knowledge don't have that that knowledge base within themselves to maybe balance against incorrect response from AI. So working with teachers on how do you help students, cross-check information that's provided via AI, encouraging them to always question what the AI responds with. I think one of the first things that I had done when the ChatGPT, came out was I asked it to produce a bio for Diana Eggers, educator in Issaquah. And if you read it, not knowing my history of work in Issaquah, it would sound absolutely correct. But, I know my history in Issaquah, and it sounded like Issaquah School District language, probably went to the website and grabbed some content and whatnot. But it had me having been like an assistant principal at a school and doing something else somewhere else, which wasn't accurate, but it sure sounded accurate if you didn't know me. So I think giving students some of those experiences where it is, blatantly inaccurate, so that it sparks in them the desire to question AI and to talk to their peers, talk to their colleagues once they get into the work world, talk to their families, and just kind of, I think Chloe had that on your last screen, that passionate curiosity. So don't take it at face value, but explore it and continue to ask more questions. But from a district curriculum standpoint, I know that critical thinking is always part of what we're trying to embed in students, because that is a lifelong skill that all of us need to rely on.
Do you have any add-on?
I think my points are already pretty well covered by you and Diana. And the only thing I probably will reinforce is, sometimes when we have a new problem or face a new problem, we tend to think, okay, is there one secret like weapon can solve all like this challenge? And the reality, I think, we all know as parents or educators or students very well that to answer this question, there are multiple layers. There are things that the schools and education from a system point of view can help and to guide. And I would also hope that you, or not only you, we are the best role model and teachers for our children as well. So having those open dialogue and helping kids to be really open and passionately curious and asking all of these critical thinking questions, I think would also help and guide the kids as well.
So,
yeah.
So the question also follow up with that is Laura also mentioned in the chat box is what's the advice on how to monitor teen AI use to ensure they're using it in non-harmful, appropriate, ethical, central ways. So I think it's how the parent can be sure that the tool that the kids using are not gonna be not gonna have some inappropriate results coming back, or they learn the same things in the positive way, not negative way, all those kind of how the parents can help with that.
If I may, I want to address, Laura, your question. For me, I think there are 3 layers when I think about it. First, parents' role. So I always think having an open conversation with your teens or your children, and so that they are aware of the ethical use, they are also be aware of there may be misinformation and what are the potential risks. Not only the benefit of using AI, having that holistic view is really important. And how you do that is by having those conversation openly. And it's going to be a learning process, both for the parents and for the teens, as AI is evolving so fast, so we need to evolve as well. I also mentioned earlier in the presentation for the younger children or even teens, and of course you can still set the screen time. So that is also one way that you can have monitoring and control. And the second layer, I would say, is this is where I will have hopes and also expectation for the legislation and also for the policy making, whether it's government officials or education systems, to really making sure that we put in those policy guardrails and guidelines in place to protect that the AI, when our children interacting with it, then has all those safety guards and safety nets, putting the guardrail putting in place. So I think that's really important from a policy making point of view as it's evolving and maturing. And then the last component I looked at it's about the AI making companies, the AI companies. They also need to step up and own the responsibility to making sure that they make it really clear when using these the children, especially teenager or young adults, are using this their tools, and what are the areas they need to reach out for. And I also have expectation that these companies need to step up and putting the guardrail for safety, privacy, security, and all of these control and measurement in place to safeguard the future as well.
Thank you. William, do you have anything else to comment on that?
Not on that one, but I'm happy to talk to Megan's question in the chat around kind of platforms for different tasks. That is something that we touched on earlier. And I think, one of the things that's interesting with Perplexity, but also the other search engines that have introduced AI capabilities, such as Bing and Google, is that in that context, because they know that you're looking for factual information, they tend to generate information that they can cite sources for, a website that they indexed or something like that. Whereas, ChatGPT as the chat capability is more general purpose, but there are also capabilities within ChatGPT where you can push it to act more like Perplexity and say, I want to use for instance, the search web capability within ChatGPT, which will kind of have it behave more like Perplexity. And so it's kind of important to understand kind of what is the tool doing. And some of them do a better job of kind of explaining at the time kind of where the results are coming from. But usually there being some citation in the answer is a good sign that, there is some kind of grounding behind the answer.
Thank you, William. Lauren, you have a question?
I just wanted to share because I had where Chloe was just talking about educators and legislators kind of sticking up for safety and security for students and the applications that they use. I had a really unique opportunity last year to go with ISD as a representative of Issaquah PTSA Council to a convention in California around AI, the ASU GSV convention, where educators, people who are creating content, creating apps, everybody, like there's a lot of people there. And one of the things I really took away from there is the amount of conversation that happened between teachers, educators, superintendents, parents, to these people who were trying to sell them apps, really, honestly, a lot of people there, about privacy and about student well-being. It was so nice to hear those conversations, and even a lot of times on certain stages, if I found myself in the right room, where those conversations would get deep, and superintendent saying, period. If you can't keep these children's information safe, you cannot be in my school district and they will not use your tools. So I thought that I just want to say that in front of this group because we're parents asking the district to do this type of work. And I do think that they're out there doing it. If it's not our district, it's other districts. But that student safety is super important. I remember also learning that a district in California had used one of the many apps and companies to redo all their transportation. And it took them a long time to find the company who would leave the student's name off and just take addresses to remap their schools and make their transportation more effective. And the superintendent really talked about how long and how hard and how difficult it was to actually find a company who didn't require them to leave the kids' names with the addresses. And eventually they found a company and they did it, and they have some amazing results, and they're saving thousands and thousands of dollars on their transportation afterwards. But really, that conversation about we will do work with you, and we want our students and our staff and our communities to be able to have access to AI, but above all, student safety and their personal information was it. So I just wanted to put that out there that that work is being done. So it'll be interesting as we watch. And I was just really excited to see that it was across the board. There wasn't one superintendent, teacher, leadership person who from anywhere who would have given in on that part of it, which was really, really made me feel good as a parent in that unique situation that there was not a lot of just parents there.
Thank you. I think it's one of the things as a parent that I think my experience or whatever I want to say is to talk to the kids is the most effective way what they are doing, what AI tool they are using. Definitely check with them regularly to see if they are using the AI tool or what kind of AI tool they're using. For my experience, I always asking my kids like, okay, so what do you using, for example, ChatGPT for? What answer do you get? So it's more like the way. It's more like the regular way to get get information from your own kids will help you to understand what tour and how to help your kids. There is no, because the AI is really a new tech, really like not new technology, but really fasting paced technology that it's really hard to predict what will happening in the near future. So building security, building privacy, building all those kind of boundaries, it will take time. So when outside world is working on adding all those things to help or to protect our children, the first way we can do as a parent is always to adding this boundary at your own house. And then the other thing I think for the parent perspective, I think is also from the district or from the teacher to possibly might give some resource or tour name that is safe, currently safe for our kids to use, to share this with the parents. So the parents won't just say, okay, what tour you're using, and then there's just like all those different tours that coming up. But if this is something that coming from the teachers or coming from the district website, the list of the tours that is kind of can be a reference tours, can be a safe tour to using, then the parent can also tell the kids, okay, I think you need to stop using ChatGPT. Instead, you might need to using this tour. So there is something I think it's right now the parent worry about is the disconnect between not only between the parents and the kids, also between the district and the school using and the from their home. So if that can all connect together, I think it will help parents to be less anxious or less frustrating, worry about the outside AI world. So that is just my suggestion, and that is possibly the most worrisome part for the parents right now, is they don't even know which tool is safe for their kids to use. And then so thanks, Chloe. Yeah, parents can also pay attention to both verbal and nonverbal communication of the children as a way of checking in and provide support where needed. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So it's really so I think at this conversation, we won't be end at this right now. This is AI conversation that's continuously, and we as a council, the PTSA council, we are the bridge between the families and community and also the district. So we're gonna also help communicate with the district to see if there will be some useful tools or useful resources or safe resources that the district can safely share with the parents and then guide the parents to tell the kids what to use and how to use. That would be very, very helpful. Diana, I don't know, what do you think about that?
Yes, I was just making a note. I put out some information every few months to parents through our ISD bulletin. And so I was making a note to maybe include some of those tools that are, safer for students, the ones that don't require the login, that don't require, personal information. And there's even some that, if you try to give it personal information, it will kick it back at you. So I will work on that with my team and add it to an upcoming ISD bulletin kind of focusing on AI.
Yeah.
I would also like to echo kind of what William had said earlier about, use the tool. I think the best way for you as a parent to have conversations with your children about AI tools is to use them yourselves and kind of, open that conversation. I think back to when social media kind of came, roaring in. I think the adults in the room were kind of behind because they weren't the first to jump into social media. And so students or children formulated their own rules and guidelines around using social media, and then parents, were playing catch up. And I think AI provides an opportunity for a redo on that, where as a parent, try out those tools that your student is saying that they use. Use AI in your own planning purposes at home. William gave some good examples. And then talk to your kids about that. Talk to them about what came up in your AI search and what you found to be helpful or not helpful, and just kind of open up that dialogue.
Thank you. Thanks. I think it's sorry. Yeah. So we're already over our time, but if anybody have any questions, you can just fill out this form. You can scan the barcode and fill out the form and leave your questions, and we will definitely follow up and answer your question as soon as possible. But yes, so thank you so much for everyone who participate this, and also all the speakers. You're really share your experience. Thank you so much, and it's very valuable for us, all of us, to understand and learn from different perspectives. Thank you so much, and
thank you to the students for taking time out of your evenings. We love hearing from you guys too.
Yes.
It's really important for us parents to hear what you guys are up to.
Yes, thank you. Thanks so much, and good night. Thank you so much.